We received a mutual aid request to Paulding County Fire for a reported person trapped in a concrete hopper. So it was about a 30-minute response time for us, so it was a ways out there.
Male had fallen down into a cement hopper. At the concrete plant, it's like 3 stories tall, so trucks pull in around to the rear, and they load that material through a hopper. The victim was all the way down at the bottom. The chiefs could look through the hopper, and they could actually see his legs, and they could see that he was hunched in a hunched-over position, but he was moving and making noises, so we knew he was alive.
He was actually buried alive, bent over, with his hands right here, and he had a hoodie over him. That's the only thing I can think of that how this little pocket of air was created for him.
I remember walking up to the edge of this hopper, and you can see the victim's hip. That's about it. There's one little place has not collapsed yet. I remember looking over at the amount of material that was on top of this man. I could not believe we were still able to make contact with it. I said, we need a vacuum truck, and let's go ahead and get a Cobb unit.
If we were in the hole trying to dig this out with shovels or putting a ladder in the hole, the more we dug, the more that would have collapsed onto the victim. So the vacuum truck was our only way to remove this material without further causing a collapse onto the patient.
Cobb arrived on scene pretty much within the same time as the vacuum truck. So at that point, Lieutenant Collier directed me to go ahead and put a harness on. I was going to be the one that would attempt to vacuum material away from the top of over the patient. We set up a piece of corrugated pipe on a rope that could be lowered just in case of emergency. If another collapse happened, we could drop that really quick and protect the patient. Then about 45 minutes in there attempting to vacuum the material, which proved to take longer and wasn't very as effective as we wanted it to be.
What made it so difficult, it was so unstable. It was literally collapsing in front of us. Every little movement, the biggest thing on calls like this with any type of collapse is that secondary collapse is the most dangerous.
We had a secondary collapse. And during that secondary collapse, you can hear the victim yelling and screaming, and then all of a sudden, silence.
They pulled me out, and they lashed long pike poles to the vacuum truck, and they were able to work that back and forth until material got low enough where we could put a ladder down in, and then a Cobb rescue technician went on rope and went down the ladder.
And when we heard that he was still talking and that we didn't lose him, there was still another opportunity for us to get him out of there. It was kind of, it was go time at that point because now we're in the hopper with him. We're digging as quick as we can. I went down there with just a couple of shovels. He was wearing an orange hoodie and just dug and dug and dug until I started seeing orange. Is when I saw his clothing, I just started digging around him with my hands. And I saw the sand actually it looked like it was pulsating a little bit, and it was him lifting his head up like that when we got to him. So finally uncovered his head and dug out a little bit in front of his face to where he was able to breathe more freely. And the first thing he said to me was, "Thank you so much." And he just kept saying it over and over and over. Jeff came down there, and Jeff started helping me out digging his upper torso. We were able to sit him up, and from there, Jeff went to work on freeing his legs and digging out his legs, and I went to work starting an IV on him.
I cleaned away enough around him for Parker Lee to be able to start an IV, to give him the medication he needed. They had been bent over for so long, it took him quite a while to start standing up. And clearing away the rock dust from around him with the suction, I was able to get the bumblebee suit in place, used a piece of webbing across his chest to be able to hook him up to the ladder truck for him to raise him out.
Once we got him out, he was talking, got transferred over to the med crews. It was just an amazing feeling.
I can't say enough about, the Paulding County Fire Department. They were unbelievable. We worked with those guys great. We'd never worked with each other before. And
the teamwork was phenomenal. And like I said, the communications between the two departments was seamless.
This occurred, I believe, 6 days before Christmas. And I think it's so rare that people come out alive from an event like that. And the fact that everybody on scene, we were able to get him out of that alive and get him back to his family for the holidays. I mean, that's essentially what you do the job for.
The joy in my heart was amazing. And I felt that for weeks after that, to know that this guy lived.